Chapter 41 I Want Both Benefits and Peace. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Inside the tent, Ruolin looked at Xiao Ze up and down as if she saw some rare treasure. This can no longer be described as a genius, she recruited a future top powerhouse. A 12-year-old great fighting master, in the history of the entire Canaan Academy, no student has ever reached such a level. If other geniuses may become strong in the future, then Xiao Ze in front of him will definitely become a strong. This kind of enviable talent is enough to make him go all the way to the top without any obstacles. Huh, little guy. Xiao Ze, you really gave me a big surprise. Ruolin also changed a name at this time. Xiao Ze is a cultivator of the same level as her. Calling him a little guy again is provocative. Xiao Ze smiled and said nothing. Ruolin also understood what Xiao Ze meant and said to others. You will register the new students in the future. Maintain the discipline on the scene and don't cause trouble for me. After instructing her students, Ruolin looked at Xiao Ze. Let's go, Xiao Ze, let's find a place to talk alone. Xiao Ze gestured to Xiao Xun'er and Xiao Yixian, telling them not to worry. Amid the envious eyes of the crowd, Xiao Ze quickly followed teacher Ruolin. He was one step behind her and left behind her. When Ruolin and Xiao Ze disappeared, the tent seemed to explode. Countless exclamations and discussions resounded in the tent. It all came down to one point, that is, what is Xiao Ze's specific strength? Xiao Xun'er and Xiao Yixian who stayed in the tent also became the focus of everyone's attention. Xiao Yu's good sisters surrounded them, pestered the two, and asked about Xiao Ze's specific strength, but both of them kept their mouths shut, and no matter how those girls acted coquettishly and flattered them, they both treated them with a smile. In the end, Xiao Yu rushed in, rescued Xiao Xun'er and Xiao Yixian, and separated them from the crowd with his body. Coming to a corner, Xiao Yu couldn't help his curiosity. Cousin Xun'er, what is Xiao Ze's strength, exactly? Why did he make teacher Ruolin lose her composure like that? Xiao Xun'er had a proud smile on her face, and then shook her head in Xiao Yu's expectant eyes. Cousin Xiao Yu, it would be better for you to ask brother Xiao Ze in person. Wouldn't it be more meaningful if he told you in person? Xiao Yu rolled her eyes, knowing that she couldn't get Xiao Ze's strength from this girl, but if she asked Xiao Ze, she might be fooled again. The hustle and bustle in the tent even made the new freshman a little panicked. Is this tent really the registration place for the enrollment ceremony? However, after learning what happened in the tent, the freshmen were also shocked. In particular, Xiao Xun'er received the most attention. The most mysterious Xiao Ze was not in the tent at the moment. Under Xiao Ze, the most outstanding Xiao Xun'er became the focus of everyone's attention. After all, this is a genius with potential beyond S level. But Xiao Xun'er was surrounded by girls, and no one dared to approach her. On the other side, Xiao Ze followed Ruolin to a deserted place. Ruolin crossed her arms and looked at Xiao Ze. How did this guy practice? A 12-year-old master. It made Ruolin feel that her practice over the years was a joke. Teacher Ruolin, can you take away your strange eyes? I followed you here, not for you to look at me like a monster. Hee, that's because I didn't tell anyone, otherwise everyone would look at you like a monster. Ruolin said in an exaggerated tone. TSK, a 12-year-old master, I still can't believe it. That's why I don't want to reveal my true strength. Xiao Ze shrugged and said, please don't reveal my true strength, teacher Ruolin. I can only promise not to tell irrelevant people, but I must tell the dean of the college. Ruolin pondered for a moment, and then explained. After all, as the most talented student in the history of Canaan Academy, the way of training must be decided by the dean. Xiao Ze nodded in understanding and said with a smile, of course I know this, I just don't want to attract too much attention. I am still very tempted by the training of the academy. I can see that you want the highest level of training in the academy, but don't want to cause too much trouble. Ruolin saw through Xiao Ze's thoughts. Otherwise, Xiao Ze would just falsely report the strength of a 3-star fighter. She herself would not be bored and really go to investigate, but Xiao Ze revealed the strength of a great fighter to her just to get the strong training of Canaan Academy. The two continued to chat for a while, and their relationship was obviously much closer. Ruolin also changed the name back to Little Guy, and looked at Xiao Ze with doting eyes. Xiao Ze was a little bit overwhelmed. Ahem, before leaving, Teacher Wolin, I have another request, I hope you can agree to it. Oh. Whatever you want, little guy, just ask, Wolin said proudly, this is a genius who made history, just recruiting him can be regarded as his own achievement. Clear the obstacles for himself to be promoted to a Xian-level teacher. Seeing Wolin so generous, Xiao Ze also quickly proposed. I want Teacher Wolin. Hey! How old are you, little guy? You want me? Teacher Wolin interrupted Xiao Ze in surprise, staring at Xiao Ze with disbelief. Wolin covered her chest with her hands in fear. Xiao Ze rolled his eyes and said helplessly, Teacher Wolin, can you let me finish my words? I'm just joking, please continue. Wolin laughed softly. She couldn't help teasing this talented and fun student. I want to ask Teacher Wolin to stay at the Xiao family during the enrollment period. Before leaving, I want to find some benefits for the family. Xiao Ze's words were so clear that Wolin immediately understood. As a transcendent force independent of the three empires, Canaan College generally does not have anything to do with the forces at the enrollment location. What's more, as a tutor for enrollment, Wolin is enough for countless people to curry favor with her. Many forces hope to use Teacher Wolin's hand to send their children to Canaan College to study. Wolin glanced at Xiao Ze, and without much hesitation, she nodded and agreed. She was just staying at the Xiao family for 7 days to send a signal to the outside world. She would not really help other forces and do some things for personal gain. Okay, but I will not meet with any forces. I am just staying at the student's home temporarily. Do you understand? Xiao Ze nodded. That was enough. The signal sent by Wolin's residence at the Xiao family alone was enough for many forces in Wutan City to curry favor with the Xiao family. Then I will take my leave first, Teacher Wolin, and go to prepare a place for you to stay. Xiao Ze bowed slightly politely, and then backed away. Wolin smiled as she watched Xiao Ze leave. This student is not only unparalleled in talent, but also impeccable in dealing with people. Xiao Ze returned to the tent and left with Xiao Xun'er and Xiao Yixian. At the same time, he asked Xiao Yu to remember to bring Teacher Wolin back to the Xiao family. The family leaders who learned the news arranged their accommodation in a hurry. It is bound to make Teacher Wolin feel as warm as home. Please read the book, and now recommend the full book. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you. Thank you Han Ling and Xiaopeng 751 for your monthly ticket support. Thank you very much. Chapter 42 7 days. 7 days. Do you know how I spent these 7 days? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the evening, Xiao Zhan led all the senior members of the Xiao family to stand outside the gate. He was eager to wait for the arrival of the person Xiao Ze mentioned. The senior members of the Xiao family standing behind him were still a little unbelievable at this time. The tutor of Canaan College, who had always maintained a detached status in the past, actually wanted to stay at the Xiao family. If these words hadn't come from Xiao Ze's mouth, I'm afraid they wouldn't want to believe it. But now Xiao Ze has a very high say in the Xiao family. Xiao Zhan didn't do anything during this period of time, with the strength of the 9-star fighter that Xiao Ze showed at the beginning. And in the conflict with the Great Elder, it was like painting a cake, depicting a glorious future for the children of the Xiao family. Success allowed Xiao Zhan to secure his position as clan leader, greatly weakening the power of other elders and senior members of the Xiao family. And Xiao Zhan witnessed Xiao Ze's breakthrough to the great realm twice, and he became determined in his heart. He wanted to pass on the position of clan leader to Xiao Ze. Xiao Zhan is in the Xiao family, secretly building momentum for Xiao Ze. I am afraid that even Xiao Ze himself would not have thought that his right to speak even surpasses all the elders. Just as everyone was expecting, Xiao Yu returned to the Xiao family with Tutor Wolin and a large group of female classmates. Xiao Zhan's nervousness was finally relieved, and he greeted him with a happy smile on his face. You must be Tutor Wolin. I am Xiao Zhan, the head of the Xiao family. It turns out to be Chief Xiao. I'm so lucky to meet him. Young Master Ling's talent is really enviable. Wolin showed a gentle smile and said politely, this is Xiao Ze's father. If I bring a large group of students here, I won't disturb the Xiao family, right? Of course not. The Xiao family has the honor to receive talented students and powerful mentors from Canaan. It is truly a blessing to the Xiao family. Xiao Zhan warmly welcomed them to the guest room. When Xiao Ze brought back the news, he had already ordered people to clean up the guest room, ready to move in any time. Such considerate hospitality made Roland very satisfied. Early the next morning, Xiao Ze stood on the top of the mountain and noticed many carriages stopping at the gate of the Xiao family. The emblem on the carriage represents many of the best forces in Wutan City. This wave of interest exchange should be enough to allow the Xiao family to develop rapidly for a period of time. Next we go to Canaan Academy. The most important thing is to improve our strength. After Xiao Ze set a short-term goal, he became more reclusive than before. It was as if he had left the Xiao family and headed to Canaan College, but it is a pity that Canaan College needs to stay in Wutan City for 7 days. Only after the enrollment ceremony is completed will the newly recruited students be returned to Canaan College. Time flies, 7 days have passed. Xiao Ze sat cross-legged on the stone platform, his body glowing with aqua-blue light, as vast as the sea. 3-star fighting master, the progress is not bad. Xiao Ze felt that the crystals in the Doji cyclone had grown a little bigger, and nodded with satisfaction. In 7 days, 2 stars in a row. In the realm of the great fighter, unless you use pills, it is still very difficult to achieve through ordinary cultivation. Xiao Ze occasionally relied on the poisonous power of the little medical fairy to use the poison body of disaster to improve his fighting spirit. Brother Xiao Ze, are you ready? Today is the day to leave. Xiao Xun'er took the little medical fairy to the top of the mountain, feeling Xiao Ze's momentum that had not dissipated, and couldn't help but sigh in her heart. His natural talent and talents are already outstanding, coupled with the extremely fast training of the disaster poison body in the early stage. 1 day of practice is enough to be worth several years of practice for others. Get ready. I don't have anything to bring with me at the Xiao family. I have already said my goodbyes a long time ago. It seems a bit pretentious to show up now. Xiao Ze stretched his muscles and bones and completely controlled the aura on his body, just like an ordinary boy. Let's go, let's meet up with Instructor Roland. The 3 of them came to the gate and found Xiao Yu already waiting here. When she saw Xiao Ze and others, she quickly walked up to them with her long legs. I can finally see you 3. In the past 7 days, you have just disappeared. I can't find you at all. Xiao Yu pretended to be exaggerated and said, in fact, if you want to find it, just go to the back mountain. But Xiao Yu didn't have anything to do, so he went to find Xiao Ze and others. I'm addicted to practicing. Please don't take offense to cousin Xiao Yu. It's good for you guys. The 3 of you are hiding and quiet, but I was caught by Tutor Roland. I have been busy registering new students for the past 3 days. A group of 4 people went to the square, while Xiao Yu poured out her bitterness to Xiao Ze and others. With a smile on his face, Xiao Ze silently listened to Xiao Yu's confession. Approaching the square, Xiao Yu shut her mouth very wisely. I thought, cousin Xiao Yu, you were going to pour the bitter water all the way to the square. Xiao Xun'er chuckled. Xiao Yu rolled her eyes and said angrily. Although Tutor Roland is gentle, you can't pour out your bitterness in front of her, otherwise my butt will suffer. The 4 of them came to the square and saw the admissions team of Canaan College, who were doing the final touches. Roland finally breathed a sigh of relief when she saw 3 people finally appeared. You 3 finally showed up. If you didn't show up, I thought you were going to break your appointment. Sorry, Teacher Roland, we have actually been staying at the back of the Xiao family. Canaan College is a holy place for studying. How could we break the appointment? After hearing Xiao Ze's words, Roland's face relaxed a little. Only now did Roland realize how pure the piece Xiao Ze said was. I hope he won't miss classes when he gets to the academy. Roland asked a few people to help and do the final finishing work. Xiao Ze came to a place and was about to help, when suddenly a dark-skinned man wearing a college uniform came out and called him. Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze couldn't help but wonder, do we know this senior? Xiao Ze looked at this black man. Could it be that he was a student recruited in the Tagar Desert? Hearing this, the dark-skinned man showed anger visible to the naked eye. 7 days. 7 days. Do you know how I spent these 7 days, 7 days? Coupled with this slightly familiar voice, Xiao Ze recalled it, isn't this Senior Rhodes? Xiao Ze looked at Rhodes up and down. He had dark skin all over his body. Compared with Rhodes 7 days ago, he could be said to have completely changed his appearance. No wonder I didn't recognize it at first. He couldn't help but nodded and said, I see, you should be exposed to the sun for 7 full days, right? Hearing Xiao Ze's words, Rhodes couldn't help but clenched his fists and said through gritted teeth. You still know what my life has been like these past 7 days. Oh. So what if you see it? You want to get back together with me, Xiao Ze said indifferently. Just like Rhodes, he looked like he couldn't afford to lose and even resorted to killing himself during the sparring session. He even felt that he had acted lightly before. Hearing Xiao Ze's indifferent words, Rhodes couldn't help but raise his fist. Hey! Senior Rhodes must consider the consequences of his actions. If he is seriously injured this time, the injury will not heal so quickly after a long journey. When Rhodes heard this, his body froze and he swallowed. Xiao Ze's words seemed to awaken his injury. He felt a burning pain in his chest again. It had already healed long ago, so why did it still hurt? Senior Rhodes, as I said before, people should be self-aware. Rhodes sighed dejectedly, turned and left. I beg all readers to read it. Now I recommend you to read it all. I beg you to use your little hands and pull it to the last page of the book. Thank you. Chapter 43, Crossing the Black Horn Region. Killing the chicken to scare the monkey. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Ze stretched and finally arrived at the small town on the outskirts of the Black Corner territory. There are already some admissions teams waiting here. A large number of Canaan College students recruited from various countries stayed in the town. This town is controlled by the people from Canaan College and is used to receive the admissions team. Instructor Roland came in front of everyone and explained to everyone. The Black Corner territory is a dark place full of chaos and killing. If you are not careful, you will encounter natural and man-made disasters. When all the admissions team comes back, the strong men from the college will be unified to escort us to Canaan College. There is still a little time now. You can take a walk around this town. There are admissions teams from all over the world gathered here. There may be something you are interested in. You can go and take a look. Remember, fighting is not allowed in this town. Instructor Roland looked solemn, and after saying the last words, she waved her hand to let the students disperse. Xiao Ze, Xiao Xun'er, Little Medical Fairy and others did not leave, but continued to stay with Instructor Roland. Teacher Roland, how long will it take to cross the Black Angle territory and enter Canaan College? Xiao Ze asked. What? Now you can't wait to see the scenery of Canaan College, Roland said with a smile. Then he thought for a while and pondered. Normally speaking, our batch is relatively late, and the admissions team should arrive within 2 days. Even if you are escorted by strong men from the academy, crossing the Black Angle territory is not an easy task. Natural disasters are not bad, but if we encounter hundreds or thousands of black bandits, that will be real trouble. A conservative estimate is that it will take about 10 days. Xiao Ze nodded. It was difficult for him to practice while he was on the road, mainly afraid of making too much noise and causing unnecessary trouble. When he gets to Canaan Academy, he will be able to let go of his cultivation. In his impression, Canaan College seemed to have a vast and endless back mountain. The inner courtyard, known as the core of Canaan College, is also hidden in the endless back mountain. Time flew by. In the early morning of that day, after all the teams were counted, a pair of wings appeared behind an old man, vibrating slightly, and then rose into the air. The admissions team has arrived. I'll give you half an hour to pack your bags. We'll leave immediately in half an hour. We won't wait if you are late. The voice, enveloped by fighting spirit, resounded throughout the entire town. Xiao Ze suddenly opened his eyes and stood up from the bed. He has been sleeping in his clothes for the past 2 days. It is better to be careful when going out and not to behave like at home. On the other 2 beds, the Little Medical Fairy and Xiao Xun'er opened their eyes one after another. I'm finally going through the Black Corner territory. I can't wait to go to Canaan Academy and start practicing. The two women smiled and followed Xiao Ze out. Walking out of the door, it was already very lively outside, and a large number of people were packing their bags. Xiao Ze and the three of them all had Neji, so they traveled lightly and didn't need to pack anything. They just waited beside Instructor Wolin. Time is busy and passes in the blink of an eye. Half an hour later, the old man's voice echoed in his ears again. Half an hour is up, let's go. That the mighty team set off, heading towards this dark land of chaos and blood. Canaan College's annual admissions ceremony easily attracts covetous attention from all parties. After all, with such a huge team, there are always some bold people who want to come up and take a bite. Especially the notorious gangsters in the Black Corner territory, who have a reputation for licking blood from their swords. Every year, countless desperados rush to the Black Corner territory to become a gangster. A new generation replaces an old one, and no one can learn from this incident. On the 5th day of the march, a strong energy wave appeared at the end of the team. It was the strong man from the college who took action. At the very least, it's the Do Wang level. Soon after, an old man controlled dozens of heads in the void and hung them on the flagpoles of the team to scare the monkeys. The entire team's flagpole is already covered with heads. These heads are all gangsters who have been trying to attack the team in the past few days, thinking of kidnapping one by one. As we go deeper into the Black Angle territory, the number of heads on the flagpole gradually increases, and the intimidation becomes much stronger. Before taking action, many gangsters will consider whether they will become heads hanging on flagpoles in demonstrations. The originally cheerful freshmen in the team, looking at the vicious and bloody heads on the flagpole above their heads, all of them looked pale, but the instructors didn't say anything. Canaan Academy is not about cultivating flowers, but real strong men. If you can't bear the blood and killing, then leave the path of being a cultivator as soon as possible. Xiao Ze leaned on the flagpole, breathing the air with a faint smell of blood, his face calm, and he was even thinking about new abilities in his mind. Ever since he obtained the Ernan poison body, he had consciously tried to fuse the poisonous power of the Ernan poison body with the water attribute fighting energy in his body. It has achieved initial results before, but more in-depth development is needed before the two energies can fully exert their due power. In particular, the fusion of the perfect disaster poison body and the water attribute Do Qi may be able to create new special attributes. Poisonous water or poisonous water properties. Xiao Ze put aside the idea of naming. It was not yet completely completed. He would consider the name later. Besides, this unique attribute was probably unique to him in Duki continent. There was no point in naming it. He just needed to know the situation. In the next few days, the harassment was significantly reduced. After all, the heads hanging on the flagpole were once living lives. This is the price of daring to provoke Canaan Academy. Xiao Ze stood up and saw two magnificent mountains in front of him, and there was a small town between the mountains. Xiao Ze looked at the town that was slowly becoming clear in his vision, and a plaque with the name of the town, Heping Town. This is Heping Town, and there is also the dead tree. Xiao Ze looked at the peculiar tree. This tree witnessed the struggle between Canaan Academy and the forces of the Black Horn region. To seek peace in this chaotic and murderous Black Horn region, the effort required is far beyond the imagination of ordinary people. The corpses of a Do Huang and two Do Wang hung on the dead tree, which was the ironclad evidence. We are finally close to the outskirts of Canaan College. Next, we just need to cross a primeval forest and we will officially reach Canaan City. Teacher Wolin said to Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze nodded, with expectation in his eyes. Nothing unexpected happened next, and they passed through the primeval forest safely. A magnificent city appeared in front of many freshmen. Canaan City. Canaan College is located in the center of the city. Entering Canaan City, Xiao Ze could clearly feel that Teacher Wolin was much more relaxed. Teacher Wolin, are you relieved now? Xiao Ze said with a smile. Wolin rolled her eyes and said unhappily. The next step is to be busy, arranging all the matters for the admission of new students. Wolin made a bitter face and grabbed Xiao Ze's hand. Don't disappear again. I'll try my best. You can't try your best. At least wait until I arrange all the matters for the new students. Wolin widened her eyes and looked at Xiao Ze angrily. Her usual gentleness disappeared. Okay. Please read the book. I recommend you to read it now. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you very much. Thanks to Late Maple Forest Remnant Memory and Xiao Xun'er for their monthly ticket support. Thank you very much. Chapter 44 Opportunity to Enter the Library. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiao Ze finally did not break his promise and cooperated with Teacher Woolen to complete the admission of freshmen. There were still 3 days before the official start of the training course, which was considered to be time for freshmen to adapt to the academy. Early that morning, Xiao Ze, led by Teacher Woolen, came to a book pavilion. This is it. You must behave well when you go in. Now the dean is not in the academy, and many matters of the external academy are decided by the vice dean. Woolen said earnestly, whether you can get the highest level of training depends on whether you can satisfy the vice dean this time. I understand, Teacher Woolen. Xiao Ze nodded and walked forward alone. Before he knocked on the door of the book pavilion opened automatically. An old voice came from inside the door. Xiao Ze. Come in. Xiao Ze turned around and looked at Teacher Woolen. Teacher Woolen smiled and nodded. She looked at Xiao Ze's back and made a cheering gesture. Looking at the closed door, Woolen turned around and left to deal with matters related to the freshmen. Xiao Ze entered the library. Unlike the darkness he imagined, there were bright lights everywhere. However, the library was filled with books, and there was no open fire as the light source, but huge nightlight pearls. Xiao Ze followed the instructions and came to a spacious and bright room. An old man with white hair and beard sat at the table, flipping through a document. Student Xiao Ze, meet the vice president. Xiao Ze stepped forward to greet, but the vice president did not react. Xiao Ze's face was calm and his movements remained unchanged. After flipping through the documents for more than 10 minutes, the vice president slowly closed the pages. Looking up at Xiao Ze, who was still in a greeting posture, a hint of satisfaction appeared in his eyes. Calm and courteous. Not at all like what was shown in the document, just a 12-year-old boy. Okay, little guy, it's tiring to keep this posture. I am the vice president of Canaan College, Hu Qian. The old man's voice with a smile sounded. Xiao Ze stood up straight and looked at the vice president calmly. Do you know how much of a stir this information of yours caused among the top management when it was passed to the academy? How to train you has become a topic of endless debate among us old guys. The vice president showed the information in his hand, which was the page he had been looking at before. All the top management of the outer courtyard had already read the information in the vice president's hand. They had a very fierce argument about this, just to determine the training of Xiao Ze. The dean has been away from Canaan College for more than 10 years, and those guardians of Canaan College will not take action unless the academy is at risk of life and death. This requires the academy to train top strongmen again to deter the outside world. At present, Xiao Ze is an excellent investment target. The training plan for Xiao Ze was not finalized until yesterday. Today, he hurriedly arranged to meet Xiao Ze, but when people get old, they always like tests. The past 10 minutes were a test of Xiao Ze's character, and now it seems quite good. Please let the vice president know. Xiao Ze said neither servilely nor arrogantly. This is a training plan for you, and it is certainly not selfless dedication. In the future, you will become a top powerhouse, and you must help the academy in times of crisis. You also need to stay in the academy for 3 years. That the vice president handed over a document. Xiao Ze took it with both hands and took a look. 1 chance to enter the library, 100 points of elixir quota per month, one-on-one teaching by a senior tutor. Seeing this generous training plan, Xiao Ze's eyes were straight. The opportunity to enter the library alone is worth a lot. You should know that only the top 5 of each inner courtyard selection competition can have the opportunity to enter the library. You have to stand out from the many talented students in the outer courtyard and become the top 5 to enter the library. Now Xiao Ze can enter directly. The elixir quota can be exchanged for elixir in the alchemy department, or spend the quota and ask the alchemist to refine the elixir you need. The one-on-one teaching of a senior tutor is also a very precious opportunity. There are also many benefits below. The price Xiao Ze needs to pay is just to become a strong man in the future, and to help the college when it faces a crisis. At the same time, he has to hold a position in the college for 3 years. for Xiao Ze, this is a sure win. However, there are many benefits in it, which he does not need. Xiao Ze thought about it and said respectfully. Vice Dean, I am willing to accept it, but I want to make some suggestions on the training plan. Oh. You haven't enjoyed these training plans yet, and you want to change them? This is what we old guys came up with. Ahem. The students didn't mean that, but there are some that don't quite fit the students' personalities and situations. Ahem. You say it. The Vice Dean sighed. This is the plan they have discussed and designed for a long time, and now they have to change it. I want to increase the access opportunity to the library. It's okay to give up other training plans for this. Huh, you are smart, little guy, you know very well that the most precious thing in this training plan is the opportunity to enter the library. That the Vice Dean couldn't help laughing when he heard what Xiao Ze said. Xiao Ze's intelligence made him even more satisfied. Only by knowing how to fight for benefits for yourself can you grow faster. I allow your proposal, but other benefits will be greatly reduced, or even completely eliminated. After all, in the library, if you have enough opportunities, you can even obtain Earth-level skills and fighting skills. These are all high-level items worth a fortune outside. Student understands. Xiao Ze saluted and said, he proposed this condition because he saw the preciousness of the library. Okay, since you insist on doing so, I will talk to those old guys and try to leave more benefits for you. The vice president touched his beard and said that in the short contact, Xiao Ze's characteristics in all aspects made him feel satisfied. He even wanted Xiao Ze to become the destination of his restless granddaughter, but he didn't want to interfere too much in the affairs of young people, and let nature take its course. What he had to do was to escort the young people now and let them thrive. Thank you, Vice Dean. You go back first. I will send someone to notify you at this time tomorrow at the earliest. Come here to claim your 2 chances. Xiao Ze bowed and left. Watching Xiao Ze leave, the Vice Dean looked at the training plan in his hand. I have to argue with the old guy in the academy again. Leaving the library, Xiao Ze returned to the small attic that Teacher Wolin arranged for the 3 of them. He insisted on taking another chance in the library. In addition to finding a subsequent advanced practice technique for himself, it was to obtain a high-level poison attribute technique for Xiao Xian. The technique that Xiao Xian is using now was taken out by Xiao Xun'er. Otherwise, she would still be stuck in the fighter and could not make any progress. Xiao Ze himself did not have much demand for other techniques except for the techniques. There were fighting skills reported by Xiao Xun'er. At least at this stage, Xiao Ze's fighting skills were completely sufficient. Xiao Ze returned to the attic and told the 2 about this, which made the 2 of them marvel and their eyes were full of envy. I would like to ask all readers to read the book. I recommend you to read the book in full now. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you very much. Thank you for the monthly ticket support from Book Friend 202301318317990. Thank you very much. Chapter 45, Return as Expected, Earth Level Kung Fu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, Xiao Ze followed the people sent by the vice president to the library. After dismissing the others, the vice president said to Xiao Ze with a smile. Your suggestion has been approved. You have 2 opportunities to enter the library, but other training benefits will be reduced or even cancelled. Xiao Ze nodded calmly and took the information given by the vice president. It was much better than he thought. At least in this training benefit, the second most precious elixir quota was not cancelled. Are you going to enter the library now? Yes, I need advanced exercises. The vice president nodded in understanding, stood up and came to the wall behind him, and slapped a few palms casually. Accompanied by the low rumbling sound of the stone wall moving, a dark cave appeared in front of Xiao Ze. Come with me. The vice president glanced at Xiao Ze, who looked calm, and felt more satisfied. It is a rare quality to remain calm in the face of change. The 2 walked in the passage, which was inlaid with some huge night-shining pearls to provide light. At the same time, the vice president also reminded Xiao Ze of some matters that need to be paid attention to, as well as the rules for entering the library. The light source gradually appeared in front of him, and Xiao Ze took a step forward. The dazzling Light made Xiao Ze narrow his eyes slightly. The scene in front of him was a closed valley. Looking up, he could not see the end at all, as if the mountain was infinitely high. There was a huge and simple pavilion on the 3 cliffs, and a heavy and ancient atmosphere came to his face. There was a plaque on the attic that had been weathered by the years, and 3 big characters were written on it in a vigorous and powerful manner, Library. The vice president took Xiao Ze to the outside of the library and saluted in the void. The personnel of the Canaan College's external courtyard training program have been brought here. Please open the door. Hu Qian's voice, wrapped in fighting spirit, echoed between the valleys for a long time. Xiao Ze looked at the entrance of the library, where 2 gray-robed old men were already sitting. They had disappeared completely before, as if they had appeared suddenly. Xiao Ze lowered his eyes slightly and stood still. After waiting for more than 10 minutes, the eyelids of the 2 gray-robed elders twitched slightly, revealing slightly turbid eyes. The 2 gray-robed elders looked at Xiao Ze at the same time, and the scrutiny in their eyes was very obvious. Soon, a trace of surprise flashed in their eyes, and one of the gray-robed elders asked directly. "My friend, how old are you?" "Student Xiao Ze, meet the senior, I am 12 years old." Xiao Ze saluted and replied. The 2 gray-robed elders flashed a trace of surprise in their eyes at the same time. No wonder they used a training plan that had not been used for many years. A 12-year-old 4-star great fighter is definitely a top powerhouse in the future, with extraordinary talent. That's right. After the accumulation of the period of rushing on the road, Xiao Ze immediately broke through as soon as he arrived at Canaan Academy. Now he is a 4-star great fighter. Extraordinary talent. Young people are formidable. That the 2 gray-robed elders each made a comment. They were also amazed at Xiao Ze's talent. Even old men like them had never seen such a talented person. The 2 old men stretched out their dry palms and made some strange hand seals. Along with these hand seals, a strange and powerful wave spread out and contacted the space in front of Xiao Ze. The space was like water, with waves in circles. The vice president explained to Xiao Ze. This is a space lock set by a Dou Zun strongman. It has a very strong protective ability. Even if a Dou Zone is in front of it, it can be safe and sound. Xiao Ze bowed slightly and said, "Thank you, Vice President, for clearing up my doubts." A space door slowly took shape in front of them. The Vice President took the lead, and Xiao Ze followed closely and stepped into the space door. "Thank you, 2 elders," Hu Qian said with a bow. "It's just my duty." An old man in a gray robe said in a hoarse voice, and then fell into silence again. Hu Qian told Xiao Ze, "You have 1 hour to enter this time, and you can only take out 1 item. I have already told you about the taboos before, don't force it, otherwise you will end up empty-handed." Xiao Ze nodded, thought for a while and said, "Can the 2 opportunities be combined together? I don't want to trouble the 2 seniors again and again." Hu Qian didn't say anything. At this point, it was not up to him to decide. "Okay, the time is extended to 2 hours, and you can take out 2 items." An old man in a gray robe said. Xiao Ze bowed and thanked him, then stepped forward. He lowered his eyes and didn't look at the plaque above. The plaque hanging above has magical power that can attract people's minds. Xiao Ze adhered to his original intention, and a desolate atmosphere lingered in his heart, but it didn't affect Xiao Ze, until Xiao Ze's figure entered the library. The 3 people who stayed outside looked at each other in bewilderment. Originally, they planned to wait until Xiao Ze fell into a state of absent-mindedness before reminding Xiao Ze. Unexpectedly, Xiao Ze was not affected by the plaque at all. This made the 3 people's evaluation of Xiao Ze even higher. 2 elders, how long do you think Xiao Ze will come out, and what items can he get? Hu Qian waited for a while, and asked the 2 gray-robed elders out of boredom. The 2 gray-robed elders looked at each other. If the top 5 of the inner court selection competition went in, the 2 gray-robed elders would probably not even pay attention to Hu Qian. But Xiao Ze is the first genius to receive a training program in many years. At a young age, his strength has already reached the level of a 4-star fighting master, coupled with a series of previous miraculous performances. It really made the 2 elders a little curious. Xiao Ze is indeed gifted, but chance and character are also particularly important in the library. What he will achieve in the end depends entirely on himself. The old man in gray robe said slowly. Just as Hu Qian was about to speak, he suddenly turned to look at the library. the two old men also had a hint of surprise in their hearts. Xiao Ze is out. It's been less than 10 minutes since we got in. The vice president frowned slightly and looked towards the door of the library. As expected, Xiao Ze walked out with a calm expression. Xiao Ze, why did you come out so quickly? You should know how precious the opportunity is to enter the library. Why? Hu Qian said anxiously, if something unexpected happens to you, your previous request can be invalidated. I'll give you another chance, but this time I can only bring out one thing. No need, Vice Dean. Xiao Ze smiled and shook his head, showing the two scrolls in his hands. One roll shows an aqua blue color like the vast ocean, one scroll is a colorful scroll that shines with strange brilliance. I am very satisfied with this harvest, so I came out early so as not to disturb the two seniors too much. Earth Level Kung Fu. Both volumes, that the two old men in gray robes had sharp eyesight. They saw the level of the two scrolls in Xiao Ze's hands and couldn't help but said in surprise. Hu Qian also came to his senses and looked at the two volumes of Earth-level skills in Xiao Ze's hands. It seems that Xiao Ze really returned home with a full load this time. You got two Earth-level scrolls so quickly, that Hu Qian couldn't help but marveled. As soon as I entered the room, several streams of light flew out of the energy shield, and they all stopped next to me. After checking, they turned out to be all Earth-level techniques, and they happened to be what I needed, so I didn't waste any more time picking and choosing. Xiao Ze explained, causing the three people present to fall into silence. If the top 5 in previous inner court selections heard this, they would probably burst into tears. I beg all readers to read it. Now I recommend you to read it all. I beg you to use your little hands and pull it to the last page of the book. Thank you. Chapter 46, Sparring Instruction. Class Evaluation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In front of the library, two gray-robed old men looked at Xiao Ze's leaving figure. This boy is extremely talented and has an extraordinary opportunity. If he hadn't died midway, he would have definitely become the top powerhouse in Douchi continent. Canaan College's investment in him will pay off endlessly. Ripples arose in the space, hiding the library into a knotted realm again, and the sound was cut off. On the other side, the deputy dean looked at the two volumes of Earth-level skills in Xiao Ze's hand and sighed in his heart. This was the first time he had seen someone with such an opportunity. If what Xiao Ze said is true, as soon as he enters the room, the energy shield will spit out several streams of light, all of which are Earth-level techniques. The Earth-level fighting skills that could attract countless people to fight for their lives outside were displayed in front of Xiao Ze for him to choose from. Isn't this a God-given opportunity or what? Well, the value of the two volumes of Earth-level skills has far exceeded the training plan before modification. Little guy, your opportunity is extremely profound. Hu Qian stroked his beard and said with a smile. Thanks to the deputy dean for the opportunity you gave me. Xiao Ze put the two scrolls into the ring and solemnly bowed. Okay, I see that you can't wait to start practicing, so I won't keep you here. Hu Qian also saw the eagerness in Xiao Ze's eyes and waved his hand, letting Xiao Ze leave on his own. Farewell, students. Xiao Ze did all the etiquette before leaving the book pavilion. People do not blame. Returning to the small attic, Xiao Ze called the little medical fairy and Xiao Xun'er, and the three of them went straight to the back mountain and stayed up all night to practice their skills, until one day later, Roland's messenger bird flew into Xiao Ze's hand. Inform Xiao Ze that the formal academy training course will begin. The college's training courses can be roughly summarized as 3 parts theory and 7 parts practice. If you encounter difficulties in practice, you can also consult a teacher. Xiao Ze came to a conclusion after taking a day's theoretical course. The training courses are useful, but not much. This is especially true for practical courses. It means to effectively transform the knowledge in theoretical courses into the results that you have mastered. But for Xiao Ze at this stage, it is really of little use. In the practical course, Roland arranged for pairs to practice in pairs. Xiao Xun'er was paired with the little medical fairy, while Xiao Ze was assigned to a girl with long red hair. Classmate Xiao Ze, please give me some advice. Hi, please give me more advice. The two sides exchanged polite greetings. and the red-haired girl took the lead in attacking. Xiao Ze tilted his head and raised his hand to slap away the girl's palm that was thrust towards him. Not enough strength. Try to gather fighting energy in your palms. After Xiao Ze finished speaking, he also demonstrated with fighting spirit. The girl was stunned for a moment, then showed a surprised smile and began to follow Xiao Ze's example. Find the right place to attack. Even in the middle of a sparring match, you have to be quick, accurate and ruthless to hit the point. Xiao Ze struck the girl's wrist with a knife, and it turned red in the blink of an eye. However, the girl did not cry out in pain, let alone complain. She pursed her lips and followed Xiao Ze's instructions to attack the vital points. 10 minutes later, the girl opposite Xiao Ze had made great progress. The surrounding students also gathered around, their mouths slightly opened, their eyes full of shock. Ruolin, who was standing on the stage, couldn't help shaking her head and smiling helplessly. Being a mentor to this little guy is really stressful. When the 15 minutes were up, Xiao Ze stopped. The long-haired girl was panting and her face was flushed. You should take a rest first, too much is not enough. After Xiao Ze finished speaking, a female classmate among the surrounding classmates suddenly spoke. Student Xiao Ze, can you practice sparring with me? I'm not afraid of pain. Just guide me. This female classmate could clearly see that after being coached by Xiao Ze, her actual combat effectiveness soared. This is probably more effective than instructor Wolin's one-on-one practical teaching. With the first person to speak, the surrounding classmates were afraid that they would be left behind and started talking one after another. Classmate Xiao Ze, please come and spar with me. I'm thick-skinned, strong and durable. Don't have any scruples. Just guide me as much as you like. Classmate Xiao Ze, as long as you are willing to guide me, I can give you some benefits. As the comments around him became more and more wrong, an elegant figure slowly landed next to Xiao Ze. The lively scene suddenly fell silent. Xiao Xun'er said with a smile on her face, I understand everyone's eagerness to improve their strength, but there is only one brother Xiao Ze. To guide so many students at the same time, I'm afraid it's too much to do, so I ask students to follow the instructor's arrangements. Only then did the noisy scene subside. After all, Xiao Xun'er is recognized as the strongest among the freshmen in this class. Super S-level potential. As for Xiao Ze's situation, Wolin reported it directly to the vice dean, so other students don't know Xiao Ze's true strength, but Xiao Xun'er's Super S-level potential was announced by the whole hospital. Therefore, Xiao Xun'er's prestige in the class is very high. The other students had angry expressions on their faces, and Wolin also appeared on the scene. In this way, Xiao Ze will take turns giving guidance to everyone in the future. Xiao Ze, do you have any objections? Xiao Ze shook his head. He had to go to class anyway. Moreover, by coaching others, you can also gain some improvement. By the way, there will be a class competition in 10 days, and each class will send the strongest student to represent the class in the competition. The winning class will receive resource support in the next year. In previous years, the Xian level class won, but this year is different. I want the Huang level class to win as well, Wolin said, looking at Xiao Ze and Xiao Xun'er. The meaning in her eyes was self-evident. The other classmates were the same, they were happy for their luck. It was an honor to be in the same class with Xiao Ze and Xiao Xun'er. Xun'er, do you have any ideas? Xiao Ze turned his head to look at Xiao Xun'er. In terms of the combat power of the freshmen of the same class, Xiao Xun'er was basically the strongest except for him. It depends on brother Xiao Ze's opinion. Wolin rolled her eyes and saw that the two of them actually began to be humble to each other, then she had to throw out another reward. The winner of this class competition will be awarded a 5th grade elixir by the academy, which is said to improve qualifications. Teacher Wolin, I am willing to represent our class. I have no other intentions, I am just happy to win glory for the class. Xiao Ze suddenly raised his hand. This 5th grade elixir that can improve qualifications is extremely precious. If it is used on Xiao Xun'er and then fed back to himself, the effect will definitely be very powerful. It is still a bit unsafe for Xiao Xun'er to take action. If I take action myself, I can get this elixir for sure. It is cruel to think that a 4-star master fights these freshmen who are at most at the level of fighters. The other students cheered immediately. Xiao Ze's sparring teaching just now has already shown a terrifying strength that is not at the same level as them. With Xiao Ze's action, it will definitely be a sure thing. Then they can enjoy the resource assistance of the winning class. For a moment, everyone looked at Xiao Ze with gratitude and admiration. As for what Xiao Ze said before, they just thought Xiao Ze was joking. Roland glared at Xiao Ze unhappily. Okay, it's time to rest, let's continue sparring. That the red-haired woman cherished this opportunity very much, because next time, it won't be her sparring with Xiao Ze. I beg all readers to read this. I recommend you to read the whole book now. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you so much. Chapter 47 The Vast Ocean of Emptiness. Water and poison combined. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The back mountain of Canaan College, Xiao Ze sat cross-legged on the ground, breathing long and far, but great changes were taking place in his body. He had successfully transformed his technique into a low-level earth-level technique, the vast sea of void art. The reason for choosing this technique is that it can create a Dou Qi capacity as powerful as the vast sea, and the Dou Qi characteristics of being invisible and intangible, standing in the void, under his control, the evil poison in his body merged with the Dou Qi, and Xiao Ze waved his hand lightly. A wisp of Dou Qi, like a misty cloud, slowly fell on a stone more than 10 meters away from Xiao Ze. In an instant, the stone was corroded beyond recognition. Successful, Dou Qi and poison can be completely integrated. And without a body, it cannot be perceived with the naked eye, which can occupy a great advantage in battle. Just as the class evaluation is about to begin, let's try these freshmen. Xiao Ze stood up and went to the competition venue for the evaluation. The class evaluation is the first event for freshmen, and many people pay attention to it. Even some old students will come to watch. After all, those who represent the class are the strongest in the class. This means that they are likely to be strong competitors for the future inner courtyard selection competition. Therefore, they have also attracted a lot of attention. Xiao Ze came to the class where the competition venue is located. Roland was relieved when she saw Xiao Ze appear. Although Xiao Ze may not be seen at ordinary times, he is still very reliable at critical moments. Today we have a good start. The first to fight is Bai Li from Xuanjia Class 3. After Roland introduced Bai Li's information to Xiao Ze, the referee's voice came. Xuanjia Class 3 Bai Li, versus Huangjia Class 2 Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze came to the ring and took a look at his opponent. 4-star fighter, it seems that I have to hold back a little bit to avoid beating him to death. Humph. Are you the mysterious student Xiao Ze? Bai Li walked up to the stage slowly, holding a silver-white spear in his hand, and wearing a white robe, looking very cool. If there is no duplication of names, it should be me. Then let me see how mysterious you are. As soon as the referee said start, Bai Li advanced with a spear. A little cold light came first, and then the spear came out like a dragon. It must be said that this pistol technique has indeed been practiced hard. The bright yellow light flickered on the tip of the spear. Bai Li saw that Xiao Ze had been standing still, and he couldn't help but feel a little uneasy in his heart. Suddenly, the foot he stepped on suddenly made his heart beat wildly, the eyes became blurred, and even double images appeared. One Xiao Ze instantly became 3. The spear that was originally firmly thrust out in his hand also became a little crooked. Xiao Ze grabbed the spear body with a casual grab, and with a little force, he took the silver-white spear, sweeping thousands of troops. Bang! Everyone present looked at Bai Li falling off the stage, and doubts emerged in their hearts. Is this a fake match? This fight is too fake, isn't it? Is there no cover-up at all? Halfway through the charge, he suddenly seemed to have taken drugs. His steps were weak, and his moves were crooked. The middle-aged referee was also stunned. It was not until Xiao Ze looked at him that the middle-aged referee hurriedly announced. The winner is Huangjia Class 2, Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze casually threw the spear out and stabbed it directly beside Bai Li. He tried to use the attribute fighting spirit that was compatible with water and poison, and the effect was extraordinary. However, because it was a match within the academy, Xiao Ze did not kill him. He just increased the effect of causing coma a little bit. The perfect evil poison body can control the poison in the body, and it only takes a moment to strengthen any effect. the audience thought it was a fight between dragons and tigers, but it turned out to be such a ridiculous match. Bai Li's classmates couldn't help but laugh at him. You still say our class is the strongest. We are quite fierce in the class fights, but we become weak when we meet external enemies. That's right, is it that fake? Your steps are so weak, I thought you fought all night last night. You fell out of the ring before they even made a move. You really made our class lose face. A series of sarcastic remarks entered Bai Li's ears, making him stand up suddenly and point his spear at the classmates in the class. Who dares to say another word? Let's see if my spear is sharp or you are stubborn. The class tutor saw Bai Li's performance and couldn't help but frown and scolded. What are you doing? You lost the game and pointed your spear at your classmates. Losing is not terrible, but not being able to afford to lose is terrible. After that, the tutor turned around and left with some disappointment. I originally thought that this was the most talented student in his class, but now it seems a bit disappointing. Some elders are also interested in the freshman evaluation and will come to watch it when they have time. Unexpectedly, the first match was against the little guy who had caused them endless arguments. Ordinary instructors may not be able to see it, but these old guys have very sharp eyes. They can all see that this battle is not a fake match, but a real gap in strength. The gap is so huge that even the instructors can't see what Xiao Ze did. One of the old men with a stiff face touched his beard and showed an ugly smile. Strange fighting spirit attributes, cannot be captured by the naked eye, invisible and intangible, and has a hallucinogenic effect. It seems that this class competition cannot force him to show his strength at all. Originally, I was quite interested in his true combat power, but now it seems that I can only wait until that game comes. That the old man murmured in his heart, then turned and left. If there are people who are familiar with the college, they will definitely be able to see the direction in which the old man is traveling. It is the headquarters of the law enforcement team. Returning to the class station, I was greeted by the admiring eyes of many classmates. Xiao Ze, you are too powerful. You can defeat the enemy with one strike. That person from class 3 of Xuanjie was so arrogant at first, but then he became so depressed when he fell off the stage. Xiao Ze responded to the compliments from his classmates with a smile and came to tutor Roland's side. Roland suddenly asked, "Is this your new fighting skill?" "It's not a fighting skill, it's just a new attempt at ability." Xiao Ze thought for a while and replied, "This is not a fighting skill at all, it should be an ability exclusive to him. After all, there is no one in Douchi continent who has a perfect disaster poison body. Try, you little guy really surprises me one after another." "That's right. A competition of this level is not worthy of all your strength." Roland sighed. She knew that in the following games, scenes like today would definitely become more and more common. Everyone will also discover that it's not that Xiao Ze's opponent is bad, but that Xiao Ze himself is special. Sure enough, in the next game, people were surprised to find out, the opponents Xiao Ze faced were all the same as in the first game. He was very brave at first, but sluggish in the middle, and finally defeated by Xiao Ze with one blow. Until the finals, no one could force Xiao Ze to use his second move. Along the way, the audience became a little numb. It seems that whenever there is a game with Xiao Ze, it is assumed that Xiao Ze can win. For a time, Xiao Ze's reputation among the freshmen skyrocketed, overwhelmed the Super S-level Xiao Xun'er. Some good people even called Xiao Ze the strongest among the new students. Xiao Ze didn't care about this. Who could find him after the game anyway? I beg all readers to read it. Now I recommend you to read it all. I beg you to use your little hands and pull it to the last page of the book. Thank you. Thanks to Kai Baohang, young man in the dark street, floating Dream 834 and fishing alone in the cold river for your monthly ticket support. Many thanks. Chapter 48 Hot. Body Shaping Flame Pill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sulfuric acid. On the stage, Xiao Ze flicked his long sword with his fingers, making a clanging sound of gold and iron clashing. The person on the opposite side only felt that his eyes were blurred, his hands were empty, and his beloved sword had fallen into the enemy's hands. Pang. Xiao Ze held the sword behind his back and hit the person opposite him on the abdomen with the hilt, forcing her to bend over. when she raised her head again, Xiao Ze had already placed the sword on her neck. "Classmate, I won." The girl with a better face sighed helplessly. "Although I have long expected such an ending, I am still a little unwilling to do so. We obviously made it to the end and entered the finals. As long as you go one step further, you can obtain the 5th grade elixir." But facing Xiao Ze, it seemed like an insurmountable mountain. In his hands, he couldn't last more than one round, and he had already put the sword on his neck. "I lost, classmate Xiao Ze," the referee also announced in due course. "In this match, Huang Jie Class 2, Xiao Ze wins." On the judging panel opposite, the vice president stood up and announced to everyone present. "The final winner of this class competition is Xiao Ze." At the same time, Huang Jie's second class, represented by Xiao Ze, will be able to receive resource support from the college in the next year. "Oh!" As soon as Hu Qian finished speaking, the class to which Xiao Ze belonged burst into cheers of joy and shouted Xiao Ze's name in unison. Xiao Ze's smile on the ring could hardly be maintained. "Return the sword to you." Xiao Ze held the long sword backwards, with the hilt facing towards the person. "Thanks for the advice, but I will definitely get it back today." The female classmate showed a pretty smile, took the sword, and said confidently, "I hope so." Xiao Ze said indifferently, if she was really allowed to regain her place, she might as well find a place to wipe her neck. "Xiao Ze, please come up to the stage to receive your personal winning reward." Upon hearing this, Xiao Ze's eyes lit up and he quickly jumped off the ring and headed to the high platform opposite. This is the 5th grade elixir that he has longed for. Hu Qian looked at Xiao Ze with a smile on his face. Judging from the class evaluation, Xiao Ze indeed lived up to the training plan. However, Xiao Ze still needs to be given some time to grow. In the future, Xiao Ze will definitely leave a mark on the mainland. "Take it, this is a rare and proud work made by Elder Hua of the Alchemy Department. I asked him to take it out as a prize, but his flesh hurt so much that he hit me hard." Hu Qian said cheerfully and solemnly handed the jade bottle to Xiao Ze. "When you hold the jade bottle warm, you can feel the powerful energy emitted by the elixir stored in the jade bottle." "Thank you, Vice President. This is what you deserve." Then follow the Vice President's request. In the presence of everyone's attention, he raised the jade bottle high and declared that he was the final winner of this competition. Back in class, Xiao Ze disappeared in a flash. It was the Vice Dean's last request that made him unable to keep smiling. The mountain behind Canaan College, the place where the three of them often practice together. Xiao Xun'er and the little medical fairy are already waiting here. The Vice Dean's last request makes it so difficult to even force a smile. Xiao Xun'er couldn't help but cover her mouth and chuckle. But the students all felt very handsome. Under the spotlight, they announced themselves as the final winners. The little medical fairy nodded in agreement and said matter-of-factly, "I think every boy would love to take his place. It's also the most attractive way to attract girls' attention." Xiao Ze rubbed his arms, but still couldn't get used to it. "By the way, I'll give you this body-shaping elixir, Xun'er. You are of the fire attribute, so the effect should be better if you take this." The body-shaping pill was Xiao Ze's ultimate prize. Although it was effective when he took it by himself, it was not great. After Xiao Xun'er took it, the effect of 10 times the feedback was what Xiao Ze desired. Actually, this kind of elixir for improving qualifications does not have high requirements on attributes. "Brother Xiao Ze, if you take it, the effect may be better and it can make your talents even better." Xiao Xun'er stretched out her jade hand and gently pushed the jade bottle back. "Why are you so polite to your brother Xiao Ze? I gave the little medical immortal a scroll of earth-level skills, so why can't I give you a 5th grade elixir?" Xiao Ze showed a little toughness, grabbed Xiao Xun'er's hand, and placed the jade bottle on her palm. "Besides, I have now completed the transformation of my technique, and my practice speed will be even higher. I don't want to go to the inner courtyard alone by then." After hearing this, Xiao Xun'er stopped resisting. She didn't want to be separated from brother Xiao Ze. The little medical fairy standing aside also had serious eyes. What Xiao Ze said is true. Xiao Ze's current cultivation speed has far surpassed the two of them, and he is far away from them. If he doesn't catch up, I'm afraid Xiao Ze will really have to enter the inner courtyard alone. Xiao Xun'er opened the jade bottle, and the tangy fragrance of elixir was accompanied by faint energy fluctuations. A hot breath emanated from the mouth of the bottle, and the surrounding temperature seemed to rise. What a rich red fragrance! Xiao Xun'er was silent for a moment and then made a decision. Brother Xiao Ze, I'd better wait until the 9-star fighter advances before taking it. This elixir is very powerful. Even after improving your qualifications, there will still be a huge amount of medicinal power left. When the time comes, by using the power of this medicine to attack the Dou Master, it may be possible to get twice the result with half the effort. Xiao Ze nodded when he heard this. Xiao Xun'er is not far away from the 9-star fighter now, maybe we can really use this elixir to directly attack the Dou Master. In the following time, the three of them devoted themselves to practicing. Xiao Ze did not receive Xiao Xun'er's feedback reward, and planned to save it to use it to reach the realm. As for the feedback reward from the little Dr. Fairy, maybe it was the first time that the 100-fold reward ran out of luck. What follows are doubled or tripled feedback rewards, which can only be said to be better than nothing. For his perfect disaster poison body, it is just the icing on the cake. After the class evaluation, Xiao Ze suddenly became very popular. Many people want to win over Xiao Ze, the rising star, the Xiao Ze who showed an invincible attitude in the class competition and walked towards the final winner step by step. But what no one expected was that after the class competition, Xiao Ze seemed to disappear. He didn't even participate in the academy's training courses. So many people who wanted to win over Xiao Ze fell in vain. In fact, it's not that Xiao Ze doesn't take training courses. Occasionally, he will also take practical courses. He has already completed those theoretical courses. Because of Xiao Ze's behavior, Wolin had to arrange for more people to practice with Xiao Ze in the practical class. However, this way, everyone will have much less time to practice. None of the other students complained, except for those who started sparring with Xiao Ze. They were able to eat the meat completely. After the class evaluation, those who were sparring with Xiao Ze could only drink a little soup. Because time is cut down a lot. Even so, those students cherished it very much, because they knew that with Xiao Ze's talent, he would be in the same class with them for a short time before he would reach a higher level of cultivation. For example, the inner courtyard. Xiao Ze will gradually distance himself from them. All they could do was to use this little time to get Xiao Ze's help as soon as possible. Time passed in practice, and Xiao Xun'er soon reached a critical bottleneck, 9-star fighter. I beg all readers to read it. Now I recommend you to read it all. I beg you to use your little hands and pull it to the last page of the book. Thank you. Thanks to _Da for your monthly ticket support. Many thanks. Chapter 49, Great Improvement in Qualifications. Hu Jia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Back Mountain, a slightly desolate top of the mountain, the three of them came to this sunny place specially for Xiao Xun'er's breakthrough. The fire element is more active. Xiao Ze and the little medical fairy stood aside, looking encouraging to Xiao Xun'er. Xiao Xun'er opened the jade bottle and poured out a fiery red pill. The strong fragrance of elixir permeated the surroundings, and even formed circles of light red energy ripples around the elixir, showing the nobility of the 5th grade. Elixir. Xiao Xun'er glanced at Xiao Ze, and at Xiao Ze's smile. He opened his mouth slightly and swallowed the fiery red pill. Immediately he closed his eyes and began to concentrate on refining. The medicinal power of the 5th grade elixir is extraordinary. Even pills that tend to improve your qualifications are enough to take your cultivation to a higher level. In addition, when advancing, it also has the effect of refining the physique. When the two are superimposed, the effect may be stronger. Xiao Xun'er felt as if she had swallowed a ball of fire, and the violent power of the medicine was about to rush through her body. But I haven't waited for the medicine to explode yet. An even more terrifying power suddenly emerged within Xiao Xun'er's body. He easily subdued the power of the medicine with its scorching breath. Xiao Xun'er's skin showed a faint red light and was being improved by the 5th grade elixir. At the same time, Xiao Ze was also keenly aware of the changes in the energy of the surrounding world, gradually began to rush toward Xiao Xun'er. Are we about to break through? The red light gradually faded and was replaced by an extremely noble golden light. Along with Xiao Xun'er's fair skin exuded golden light. The energy of heaven and earth seemed to be drawn by something. they began to gather crazily, forming a looming energy vortex outside Xiao Xun'er's body. Sister Xun'er should be able to break through. The little medical fairy said with some worry. Dou Qi cultivation has never been a simple matter. In many cases, once the impact fails, it is very likely that the level will drop. Don't worry, with Xun'er's qualifications and the remaining medicinal impact of the 5th grade elixir, it's easy to break through a Dou master. Xiao Ze is full of confidence in Xiao Xun'er, and he just needs to wait slowly. Sure enough, with the passage of time, Xiao Xun'er's aura became more and more powerful and powerful. The golden light emitted from the body surface became more and more dazzling. Pang. As a faint golden wave spread from Xun'er's body, a system prompt flashed in front of Xiao Ze's eyes. Ding. Xiao Xun'er took the 5th grade elixir, body-shaping pill, and her qualifications were slightly improved, and her strength was upgraded to a fighting master. Congratulations to the host for getting 10 times the feedback. Congratulations on the substantial improvement in host qualifications. Xiao Ze felt happy when he saw the system prompt. Sure enough, this is the pill that maximizes its effect. If Xiao Ze eats it, others will not benefit, and his own improvement effect is still very small. If you feed it to Xiao Xun'er, not only Xiao Xun'er will be able to improve his qualifications, Xiao Ze can also get a huge improvement effect. Xiao Ze put the reward on hold for the time being and was not in a hurry to receive it. He just broke through the 6-star fighting master 2 days ago, and he will accumulate it in a few days. If you collect all the rewards you have saved before, you should be able to break through to the 7-star fighter directly. In this way, he can be considered to have reached a high level at the level of great fighting master. Brother Xiao Ze, sister little medical fairy, I successfully broke through to the Dou master level. Xiao Xun'er opened her eyes, looked at Xiao Ze and the little medical fairy, and said happily, finally arrived at Doupo, hoping not to be left too far behind by brother Xiao Ze again. Xun'er, congratulations. Sister Xun'er, congratulations. Xiao Xun'er shared her insights into her breakthrough and the feeling of taking the 5th grade elixir. To celebrate Xun'er's breakthrough as a Dou master, didn't we find a nest of ice spirit rabbits a few days ago? Let's catch a few and eat them. Xiao Ze's proposal immediately made Xiao Xun'er and the little medical fairy's eyes light up, and they swallowed unconsciously. I'm going to catch the ice spirit rabbit. I'm going to find some firewood. That the two quickly completed their division of labor and disappeared. Xiao Ze took out a complete set of kitchen utensils from Neji. The 3 of them stayed in the back mountain almost every day. Of course, they had to learn to do it themselves to have enough food and clothing. The ice spirit rabbit is a 2nd-level monster, equivalent to a practitioner at the Doupo level. Its ice attribute makes it extremely difficult to fight. Ordinary World of Warcraft does not include it in the diet, because Warcraft is accustomed to swallowing it alive. The meat of the ice spirit rabbit contains a large amount of ice attribute fighting energy. If swallowed raw in the stomach, it will be difficult to digest, and it will even be easy to dissipate for thousands of miles. Those monsters kept a respectful distance from the ice spirit rabbit. Even if he can defeat the World of Warcraft, he will exclude the ice spirit rabbit from his diet with great disgust. However, once the ice spirit rabbit is properly processed and the influence of ice attribute fighting spirit is removed, it will become a rare delicacy. Ever since they tasted it once, the 2 of them have been obsessed with the ice spirit rabbit. They even marked the nest of ice spirit rabbits they discovered a few days ago. When you want to eat, catch a few more. Soon, Xiao Xun'er came back with a relaxed expression, holding 3 ice spirit rabbits with their necks broken. The little medical fairy also came back with a full harvest and took out some special dry firewood from the Neji. Soon after, a mouth-watering fragrance came from the top of the mountain, different from the previous red fragrance. This fragrance is more able to stimulate the primitive desire of eating, making people unable to help but salivate. After smelling it, after enjoying the ice spirit rabbit one by one, the 3 of them devoted themselves to practice again. Cultivation is like sailing against the current. If you don't advance, you will retreat. Boring practice is always inevitable. The only thing we can do is to find some fun for ourselves in the process. The delicious ice rabbit we enjoyed earlier was the fun chosen by Xiao Ze and the other 2. The next day, Xiao Ze returned to the academy and participated in a training course. He was warmly welcomed by many classmates. Xiao Ze is a hot commodity in the eyes of his classmates. Practicing with him will definitely benefit you a lot. Because after the academy evaluation, Xiao Ze disappeared and took the initiative to lower his reputation. After all, people are looking for novelty. As long as they don't appear for a long time, their enthusiasm will always be consumed. Therefore, when I came back today, apart from being warmly welcomed by my classmates, there were no other episodes. Xiao Ze, please give me more advice. A pretty girl with long black hair and hips and a bit of shyness on her face said to Xiao Ze. Hello, you should be the last one in our class to practice with me. Aren't there Xiao Xun'er and Xiao Xian? The girl couldn't help but say. They practice with me every day, don't worry about them. Xiao Ze smiled and waved his hand, indicating that the girl could start. That's great. The girl's eyes flashed with deep envy, and then she attacked Xiao Ze with a serious look. In fact, the training course had ended at this time, and Xiao Ze only wanted to finish the sparring with the last classmate directly. The other classmates were also scattered around, learning from Xiao Ze. Just then, a red figure flashed by the door. Xiao Ze glanced at it, smiled secretly in his heart, and ignored it. The red figure came straight to Xiao Xun'er. The words spoken made everyone around stunned. It can be said that if you don't say something shocking, you will die. Xiao Xun'er, I like you, do you want to date me? Xiao Xun'er looked at the figure that suddenly appeared, and her mouth opened slightly. There was only full of surprise in her heart. Because the figure in front of her was a very beautiful girl. The girl was wearing a red dress, and she was biting a colorful flower in her mouth. The words revealed from her teeth were a confession that made Xiao Xun'er a little stunned. I would like to ask all readers to read the book. I recommend you to read the book in full now. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you very much. Thank you for the monthly ticket support of Return to Zero and Southern Wind Knows My Intentions, Blows Dreams into Shizhou. Thank you very much. Chapter 50, Encourage Hu Jia. Warcraft Hunting Competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the training room, everyone fell into silence because of Hu Jia's words. His eyes kept shifting back and forth between Hu Jia and Xiao Xun'er. Some girls even thought of Hu Jia and Xiao Xun'er being together. It would be so eye-catching to have two equally stunning beauties together. Xiao Ze struck the black-haired girl on the top of her head with a knife, causing her to hold her head and scream. Even in sparring, we try to simulate combat as much as possible. If you get distracted during the battle, be careful to kill you. Yes. Classmate Xiao Ze, the black-haired girl responded quickly, but hesitated for a moment and said with some concern. Student Xiao Ze, don't you want to go check on classmate Xiao Xun'er? Xun'er can handle such a small matter by herself. Seeing how curious the black-haired girl was, Xiao Ze frowned slightly and hit the empty door with his palm. The girl quickly crossed her arms to protect her heart. Pang. The black-haired girl stepped back and couldn't help but rub her chest. The originally unremarkable palm should have dented under this palm, right? With tears in her eyes, she looked at Xiao Ze with some shame and anger. The speed of my palm just now was much slower than before. If you were not distracted, you would definitely be able to dodge it instead of taking it hard. Xiao Ze ignored the girl's tears and explained in a calm tone. The battle outside the academy is not so quiet and peaceful. The enemy often uses all possible methods. As a girl, you have more things to worry about, and the enemy will target this. What you need to do is to be more prepared and adaptable, instead of shedding tears in battle and begging for the enemy's forgiveness. When Xiao Ze said this, the black-haired girl pursed her lips, wiped away her tears, and rushed towards Xiao Ze again. The battle here is exciting, and the subsequent development of the two stunning beauties on the other side is also very eye-catching. This made other students a little hesitant. Which side should they pay attention to? Some students chose to pay attention to Xiao Ze's sparring, because this is likely to be Xiao Ze's last sparring in the class. However, more students still choose to pay attention to the subsequent development of the two beauties. Is it the pair that achieves transcendence from the worldly common sense? Or was one party ruthlessly rejected by the other party? They deeply attracted the attention of most students. After Xiao Xun'er was briefly shocked, she regained her composure with a slight smile on her face. We don't know this classmate yet. Who are you? My name is Hu Jia, and I am also a new student this year. Hu Jia continued to bite the flowers and spoke incoherently. In fact, Hu Jia's grandfather had no plans to let her enter school this year, due to his talent and the profound background of the vice president's grandfather. Hu Jia also attracted the attention of some people from Canaan College. In a small area, a title that will only come in the future is even spread, Little Witch. Grandpa Hu Jia is the vice president of the outer college, so she can move freely within Canaan College. During the previous class evaluation, the little enchantress Hu Jia accidentally saw Xiao Xun'er, and was immediately shocked and fell in love at first sight. In order to get closer to Xiao Xun'er, Hu Jia pestered her grandfather to let her enroll in school this year. In the end, Hu Qian was really annoyed by Hu Jia and let her enroll in school this year. In fact, this is not a violation of the regulations, because Hu Jia's strength meets the admission standards of Canaan College. In addition to the annual enrollment dates, there are also people who travel thousands of miles to send their children to Canaan College. As long as the conditions are met, Canaan College will also admit them. Xiao Xun'er carefully filtered it in her mind and found that there was indeed no information about Hu Jia, because the title of Little Witch is only spread within a small area. What's more, since Xiao Xun'er entered school, except for the initial period, she has basically followed Xiao Ze to practice in the back mountain. There is little communication with students of the same class. Hu Jia, classmate, regardless of whether I like girls or not, and I don't care about the time we spend together, I just want to ask Hu Jia a question. Xiao Xun'er pointed at her chin, with a smirk on her lips. At this time, Hu Jia did not realize the seriousness of the problem. She quickly said, Xun'er, just ask. Strength is respected in Dou Qi continent. Would you consider being with someone who is not as strong as you? Xiao Xun'er said, spreading his palms between the two of them, blocking others' sight. A faint veil of fighting energy condensed in the palm of the hand. Hu Jia's eyes widened immediately. Growing up in Canaan College, she had a broad vision. Of course I know this is the symbol of a Dou master. Dou Qi turns into yarn. Xiao Xun'er, who is about the same age as him, has actually become a fighting master. Her mouth opened wide unconsciously, and she didn't even notice the flower falling between her teeth. This time it was Hu Jia's turn to be stunned for a while before coming back to his senses. Put yourself in your shoes. If there are other boys pursuing you, their strength is not as good as yours. Then Hu Jia himself would definitely reject it outright, and even beat the other party violently. I understand. I will try my best to catch up with you. Xun'er, wait for me. Hu Jia turned around and ran out of the training room. Xiao Xun'er picked up the flower that fell on the ground and put it into the ring. This flower was somewhat rare. Now she finally realized that practicing cultivation brought happiness to a higher level. Xun'er followed Xiao Ze, and this happiness was completely wiped out. Obviously, she has excellent talent, but she just can't feel this kind of happiness. Of course, Xiao Xun'er has other considerations. Refusing with this reason can prevent Hu Jia's continued pursuit to the greatest extent. If the two reasons mentioned earlier are used, it is likely to cause endless trouble. Don't like women? Hu Jia will find ways to change Xiao Xun'er's mind, which is troublesome. Short time together. For Hu Jia, it is not a problem at all, and he is likely to follow Xiao Xun'er every day. But if Xiao Xun'er uses the difference in cultivation as a reason to refuse, not only can it prevent Hu Jia's continuous harassment, but it can also stimulate Hu Jia to double his cultivation. Xiao Xun'er thinks she did a great job in this matter. As for whether Hu Jia can really catch up with her own cultivation progress. As soon as this idea came up, Xiao Xun'er laughed in her heart. Xiao Ze slapped the black-haired girl's heart again. This time, she did not choose to resist, but dodged in advance and took countermeasures immediately. Xiao Ze easily resolved the situation and shook the black-haired girl away. Okay, today's sparring is over. The black-haired girl was a little reluctant, but she still sincerely thanked Xiao Ze. Thank you for your guidance, Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze waved his hand, indicating that she was welcome. Xiao Xun'er and Xiao Yixian were already waiting on the side, and the other students watched Xiao Ze and the other two leave. Xiao Ze was in the battle at the time and knew how Xiao Xun'er handled it. He was surprised to find this reason for rejection. They had just walked a short distance when Teacher Woolen hurriedly caught up with them. Wait a minute, you three, you just happened to come to class today. I will tell you about the Warcraft hunting competition. Woolen stopped, looked at the three of them, and said helplessly, in case I can't find you later. Xiao Ze stopped and said in confusion, Warcraft hunting competition. Please read it, dear readers. Now I recommend you to read it in full. Please move your hands and scroll to the last page of the book. Thank you.